Hello, welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Pavani. I hope you are doing good, my dear friends. Today we are going to go through important news items that were published in Press Information Bureau on the 1st December. I have a special topic for you guys. It's on G20. We were talking about G20 just yesterday and day before yesterday. So today I am going to talk about this IPR issue, that is intellectual property right issue, and what exactly is China doing when it comes to this IPR? Why there are so many countries like USA and other countries, they are not happy with China, or why they are pointing their fingers towards China when it comes to IPR. So we are going to understand this particular concept in detail. But before that, I would like to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses, which are designed by best faculties of our country. Video demo lectures are available on our platform, that is studyiq.com. If you have any question or queries, you can feel free and give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. Now, dear friends, G20, the meeting took place in Argentina, and a good news that we are getting from this G20 is that first of all, both the nations, right, two giants, USA and China, they have decided that they are going to have a 90 days truce, right? So they are not going to impose tariffs on each other for next 90 days. And they are going to have a chat with each other. They are going to sit down on a table. They will negotiate. So a dialogue will take place between these two nations. So this is a big, good, positive news for global growth as well as for global trade. Because today's world, you know that today's this production or manufacturing or your goods and services, they are all the supply chain is integrated, right? It's globally integrated. So it's those days are gone when everything was produced in one country. Today you are buying one thing from China, you are getting one thing from USA or some other country, and then you are assembling, and then you are adding some more things here in India, and then you are selling this product to totally a different country. So we are living in a globalized or multilateral, or you can say integrated world. And when you have these two big giants, when this titans are clashing with each other, then you know that will create a sort of negative impact, and we cannot escape. For time being, there are a few countries, like say for example India will benefit out of this thing, right? Between this war that is going on politically, geopolitically, we will benefit. We will make some money out of this war between USA and China, but for long run it's not healthy, it's not good. Now, the leaders' declaration reaffirmed a basic commitment to a rule-based international order and agreed to reform WTO. This is very important news, or one of the most important thing that is coming from this G20, that at least this giant 20s, they have decided, they have agreed on one thing, that yes, now it is the right time and the right environment that we have to think about, and we have to do something about rule-based international order. From last few years, we have seen this thing, we have observed this thing, that there are many countries out there, they are misbehaving, they are not following rules and regulations, they are a bit strong enough. So you know, they are doing all these things that they feel is right for them. And many a times this feel right thing is not good for global market, for global order. So reforming WTO, that is World Trade Organization, is a very good thought, as well as I think I will take it as a first step. When giant 20s are on same page, that yes, we need to move ahead and we need to reform WTO. So that's a first step. Of course, now we will see some practical side. One thing that we need, or we can say need of the hour, is appointing judges to get its appellate body working to hear and resolve disputes. That's the thing, because for a very long period of time, USA has blocked this whole process. USA has, you know, created this wall. It was working as a, it was not allowing this whole process to move on. It was throwing its weight around, and so because of this, we don't have proper this judicial system of WTO. So because of this, if you misbehave, then as well, you know that you are not going to get any sort of punishment from WTO. So this was more likely becoming a sort of habit of many countries of not following WTO's rules and regulation. So now things hopefully will be all right. Now, most important bit of today's discussion when it comes to this special topic, it's about this China and IPR. So I'm going to be very brief here. I believe most of you are aware about how IPR works. So if not, then let me give you some basic example, right? The strength of Western world, or let me not talk about just Western world. Let's talk about USA, right? Just USA, and with the help of this example, I believe things will be all right or clear to you. So USA is a country. If you go through USA, and if you analyze USA, then you will find the big strength, right? The core strength of USA is research and development in everything. And because of this thing, USA will come out with new products and new ways of doing things, and and products and services, and it will make money out of it, and that's the reason why USA is where it is at present. Now, research and development, if you come out with a product that is altogether new, then you get this sort of IPR, intellectual property right, for your idea, for your services, for your product. You get a few years that no one else is allowed to copy that thing, because you have done all this R&D, you have paid salaries of scientists, and you have set up that whole experiment, you have took the risk and everything. So you should be given few years so that you can make the most out of this new product or service, and then it will be allowed. Then other companies and other countries can use, or they can produce the same product and services. Now, what happens in China is that if you want to sell something in China is a big market, so you cannot ignore China. So when you say, for example, here in this case, hypothetical case, USA takes iPhone. USA wants to sell some iPhones in iPhone 1 in China. Then China will ask you that you have to produce that thing here if you want to sell it here. So you agree on that thing as well. Now, of course, licensing and other things will take place. So what China will do is that once your contract will end, let's say that USA's Apple has decided that for next 1 year, that is from 2000 to 2001, this 1 year, 365 days, they are going to produce iPhone 1 in China. Imaginary, hypothetical example that we are talking about here, but with the help of this thing, you will be able to understand what I'm trying to tell. So for 1 year, 365 days, this contract has been signed, and now after 365 days, next year, that is in 2002, say for example, China says that, or when you say that now you are not into this business, you don't want to produce phones in China, you will produce it somewhere else because it is much cheaper. But then you find that the local Chinese companies will start producing duplicate iPhones, right? You'll be not happy with this thing, so you will complain. Of course, when you go to WTO, you find that there is no judges and things, so it will take ages. And then when you knock the doors of your local Chinese government, then it will not do anything about it because it will take favor of local companies. So it's violation of your IPR, and it's not in this thing. Now imagine there are millions of products out there. So when this sort of things start taking place, it becomes a bit difficult for innovators, and it will create huge amount of losses for other countries and other companies. So this was, this is something that China has been doing. So China must stop. This is called arm twisting. It will ask you to give you license, and it will violate your IPR and basic patent rights and other things. So when we have proper WTO, then we can protect our companies from this arm twisting. Then G20 leaders, they talked about terrorists, they talked about tax evaders. They have agreed that they should get no refuge. At the same time, we have also put this, topic of fugitive economic offenders, and we have talked about this automatic sharing of financial information, so that this base erosion and profit shifting, as well as this tax evaders can be nabbed. Moving on to next item, dear friends. I hope things are clear to you now. Now I'm sure next time when you read about China and IPR, you know exactly what that thing is trying to tell you, isn't it? So one concept clear. It's a big and important concept. Now J-A-I, J stands for Japan, right? A stands for America, and I stands for India. So a trilateral meeting, first ever this sort of trilateral meeting between these three countries took place during this G20 meeting. Mr. Shinzo Abe, Donald Trump, and Mr. Modi, they had a meeting with each other. It was a very good and friendly meeting, as per our foreign secretary. And the Prime Minister has talked about J. He said that J means success in Hindi, and it is indeed a success, and it will be global success if these three important players, if they work as a team, if they work in unison, then that will be a big, you can say, it will be good for the whole world. And we have also talked about Indo-Pacific region too. Now, President was present in this 13th edition of CII Agrotech India 2018, and we have some important, you can say, insight from President. So it's outstanding thing he has said, right? It's very interesting and very helpful as well. So do pay attention here. What President has said is that Indian agriculture needs a renewal of its marriage with contemporary technology. He said that we have to protect the climate now, and we have talked about this thing, you know, water pollution, air pollution, soil pollution. So many things are going on. Water table is, you know, going down. Our air quality is deteriorating. Our soil quality, and because of all these things, we see diseases and other things. And then climate change is generating losses for our farmers. So he talked about this most interesting bit here, that in previous decades, right, manufacturing and mechanization have been of appreciable utility to agriculture. He talked about this, you know, that first this primary sector there was a marriage between primary sector and secondary sector. Now what we need a strong relationship between agriculture or primary sector and service sector. That's what we need at present, and we need biotechnology, nanotechnology, data sciences, remote sensing, imaging, autonomous aerial and ground vehicles, artificial intelligence, big data, all these things. If we apply this latest technologies, and I'm sure we all are, you know, familiar with so many videos that we find on our social networking sites like FB and other places, that we have these drones, and we have you know, robots and automatic sprinklers and so many things nowadays. You also find this this video circulating on social media and television, that there are big factories, you know, big factory sort of thing, and this factory setup, and you have these piles of trays where you find vegetables, you know. So vegetables and other things are grown in artificial environment, and they are healthy and nutritious. So here what we see is, I think it's a triangle of manufacturing or primary sector. When we say primary, we are talking about agriculture. Then we have manufacturing, that is your secondary sector, and your third sector or tertiary sector, that is your services. So we need this, I would say, trilateral collaboration of all these three sectors when it comes to agriculture. He talked about Punjab and Haryana and farmers of Punjab and Haryana, and look at how nicely he is putting his point across. He has said that Punjab and Haryana farmers have been pride of our country, and yes, they are pride of our country because they played a very important role in Green Revolution, remember? And now we are facing this challenge of stubble burning, and the news in reports we find that it is these farmers from Punjab and Haryana, they are the ones who are doing this thing. So he has said that you guys have always been there when the society, when the country was you know, requiring your support, and this is the time that the country, particularly for the future of our little children, we need support of our farmers, particularly from this Haryana and Punjab. So look at how nicely President has you know, expressed his concerns. World's AIDS Day is celebrated today, and it's about awareness, right? It's about generating this awareness, and that's one of the most important things, because even today we find that there are people out there, they get AIDS because they are not aware about so many things, right? So now government is not only fully funding the HIV/AIDS program, but it has also increased the resources you know, allocated for this AIDS program. Srimati Anupriya Patel, she has informed that HIV/AIDS program has focused on more than 1 million people from high risk group and kept the infections of HIV in control through comprehensive and intense targeted intervention services. She talked about this target of our country, that by 2020 we are going to eliminate mother-to-child transmission of HIV and syphilis. She talked about Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan, and under this Abhiyan or this scheme, this antenatal checkup is provided, and a facility of this checkup is provided, and In 2017-18, more than 2 crore HIV testing among pregnant women was undertaken. And the main target is that we need to end this epidemic by 2030. Last item of the day is about this 112 number. This is going to be Pan India single number under an emergency app. This app was launched by our Home Minister in Nagaland, Emergency Response Support System. And you have this thing called Shout as well. And this 112 all across the board in our country is a good thing. When you have one number, it is easy to remember. And you know, just in case if you are under any sort of threat, then you know exactly what to do. You have to dial 112. So make sure you pass this message to other people as well, particularly for women's safety. It is important. And I have a question for you guys pertaining to European Union. So what you can do is you can download the PDF of today's lecture, and then you can go through this question. So that's everything in today's discussion. You can download the PDF from my FB page and Twitter handle, and make sure you share this lecture with other students. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Jai Hind.